Now, as promised, the news in detail. One person has been killed and 21 others have been wounded in an attack by Houthi rebels on Saudi Arabia's Abha airport. Earlier, Yemen's Houthi rebels also targeted the kingdom's Jazan airport. Those attacks came as the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was on his way to the country for talks on Iran. Earlier this month, a Houthi cruise missile hit Abha airport, wounding 26 passengers. Yemeni rebels have also claimed responsibility for attacking a key Saudi oil pipeline with bomb-laden drones in recent weeks. Elsewhere, Sudan's military has rejected the Ethiopian plan for a political settlement in the country, saying it prefers the African Union proposal instead. The army has called for a unified effort by the EU and Ethiopia to mediate between the military council and opposition. Sudan's protest leaders have accepted Ethiopia's blueprint for a 15-member governing transition body. The initiative proposed a governing council with 8 civilians and 7 members of the military. Details of the African Union proposal have not been made public. In a legal development, Sudan's Supreme Court has ordered authorities to end a nationwide internet blockade imposed by the army. The military council shut down internet services earlier this month. Well, U.S. President Donald Trump has repeated that he does not want war with Iran. This comes as fresh U.S. economic sanctions against Iran are to take effect today. Trump says Washington will not compromise on its interests in the Middle East. Earlier, National Security Advisor John Bolton threatened Iran with military action. But Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has extended an olive branch, saying the U.S. is ready to renegotiate without preconditions. Responding to the U.S. threat, Iran warned any Gulf conflict could spread uncontrollably. Well, the United Kingdom has reiterated its determination to preserve the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Meeting senior Iranian officials in Tehran, Britain's Middle East Minister Andrew Morrison called on Tehran to de-escalate tensions. This follows Iran's threat of further scaling back compliance of the nuclear deal unless EU countries shield its economy from U.S. sanctions. Tensions between Washington and Tehran have flared after Iran shot down a U.S. drone earlier this week. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said it is essential to avoid any form of escalation in the Gulf. Guterres' comments came a day after the U.S. President Donald Trump said he would impose new sanctions on Iran. Tensions between Tehran and Washington intensified after Iran's military shot down a U.S. spy drone earlier this week. Speaking on the sidelines of the World Conference of Ministers responsible for youth in Lisbon, the UN chief said the world cannot afford a major confrontation.
When we see the Gulf today, it's very important, I said it 2 days ago, everybody must keep nerves of steel. It's absolutely essential to avoid any form of escalation. The world cannot afford a major confrontation in the Gulf.
Let's move on with the news now. 4 civilians have been killed in regime airstrikes in Syria's northwestern province of Idlib. War monitors say 2 children were among the victims. Turkey and Syria's disagreement over the Idlib province safe zone has led to an escalation in clashes. War monitors say more than 470 civilians have died since late April. According to the United Nations, the violence has forced over 330,000 people to flee their homes. The Idlib conflict-free safe zone was agreed upon under the Astana Treaty by Russia and Turkey. Southeast Asian leaders have agreed to work together on regional economy and security to strengthen their positions amid growing U.S.-China tensions. The Southeast Asian countries agreed on a common approach on a U.S.-led Indo-Pacific initiative. Various issues, including the Rohingya crisis, also came under discussion. The summit concluded with a commitment to fight marine pollution. On to Mauritania now, where opposition candidates have rejected election results, declaring former General Mohamed Ould Ghazouani winner of Saturday's polls. The ruling party candidate Ghazouani secured 51% of the votes. Opposition candidates Sidi Mohamed Ould Babakar, who bagged 17% of votes, said multiple irregularities eliminated credibility of the elections. He said the opposition will challenge the outcome in every possible way within the legal ambit. This comes after Ghazouani claimed victory before the results were even in. Elsewhere, Turkey's ruling party candidate Ben Ali Yildirim has conceded defeat in the rerun of Istanbul's mayoral election. Initial results showed opposition candidate Ekrem İmamoğlu leading with 53.69% to Yildirim's 45.4%, with more than 95% of ballots counted. He won a surprise victory in March, which was annulled after the ruling AK party complained of irregularities. He again stood victorious in these elections in a blow to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. In the Czech Republic, meanwhile, tens of thousands have taken to the streets of Prague, demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Andrej Babiš. Babiš is facing investigation over alleged corruption charges. He said people have the right to protest, but has refused to step down. The protests were the biggest show of public discontent since the 1989 Velvet Revolution, which overthrew communism. In India, at least 14 people have been killed in a stampede at a religious gathering in the northern state of Rajasthan. Officials say the incident happened after strong winds caused a large marquee to collapse. More than 1,000 people were in attendance at that event, where Hindu religious sermons were being given. A police official said at least 60 people were injured in the incident. Police have begun a probe into the incident. Stampedes are common at India's religious gatherings, with police and volunteer stewards often overwhelmed by the large crowds. Sticking with India, that country has retrieved the bodies of 7 climbers, including a woman, from the second highest mountain in the northern state of Uttarakhand. 8 climbers had gone missing on May 26th after being hit by an avalanche. A group of mountaineers from the paramilitary Indo-Tibetan Border Police found 7 bodies after a month-long search. Police are still searching to find the body of the 8th mountaineer. Australia is planning to build a new deep water port on its northern coast to help the U.S. Navy counter China's growing regional influence. Officials say the facility will be 40 kilometers from Darwin, the capital of Australia's Northern Territory. The territory controversially leased its main port to a Chinese operator in 2015. The port of Darwin currently hosts visiting U.S. ships. The new port will provide a more discreet base of operations for amphibious warfare. In news coming out of Germany, police have dispersed hundreds of protesters demanding the government to end coal production to curb climate change. Climate activists entered the mine a day earlier to demand an end to lignite production. Protesters also temporarily blocked railroad tracks used to transport coal. A German utility company which operates the mine condemned the protest. Climate activists have accused the government of not doing enough to combat climate change. On to Paris, where 86 artists have taken part in a French beard championship searching for the manliest beard. More and maybe some tips in this report.
The French Beard Championship is now in its 3rd year. The contestants have been chosen from a list of over 300 hopefuls, all eager to come top of one of 6 style categories.
Non, moi c'est la troisième.
This is the third time that I'm participating. I've won the first edition. I was the best in show in 2017. Now I decide to come each year because I think we all have a great time. We meet very nice people, we spend time together as bearded men, and it brings me pleasure.
Entre barbus et voilà.
The classes include natural beard less than 20 centimeters long. There are more formal styles such as the more lavish Garibaldi and the pointier Verdi. In the freestyle category, the challengers decorated the beards with different accessories.
It's fun to see that we are not by ourselves. That being hairy is not taboo. We can work and live with a beard. It takes a lot of care, but it's beautiful. And it helps to see there's a lot of us doing this.
The contestants say the event lets them have fun with their facial hair and spend time with their families. This year's Best in Show went to Prathas Mahiswadas for his 24-centimeter long beard.
Time now for a break. I'll be back there with a lot more news after that. Let's begin this segment of the Bulletin. In Africa, the band Fulu Muziki is making waves in the Democratic Republic of Congo. What's unique about them is that all their instruments are collected from a garbage dump.
Most artists would not look to a rubbish dump for inspiration, but for Fulu Muziki, the junkyard is where the musical journey begins. They don't buy their instruments, members build them from what they find in the junkyard.
I see this bottle and I can see that it will provide a good music. It will give me a good sound, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So this will make a good instrument for our music.
Using scrap metal, plastic bottles and water pipes to make music, the group has won a loyal fan following. They want to send a message about poor sanitary conditions in Kinshasa.
I came here because I'm looking for what I can see, for what I can use to make musical instruments. But I also want to bring attention to the problem of waste management in this city. Kinshasa has become very dirty. That is why I'm taking some of the waste to create musical instruments.
The Democratic Republic of Congo produces over 9,000 tons of waste every day. A lack of proper waste management has piled up trash in big cities like Kinshasa.
My wish is to see this music genre recognized worldwide and also raise awareness on the importance of waste management, especially in Africa. We want to find a good representative who can help us spread this message through our music and also train young people to practice recycling.
The groups don't pretend to have a solution to the problem, but they do hope to spread a positive message and increase public awareness of recycling.
Well, for cardiac patients, transplantable hearts are difficult to find, but now many are getting a new lease on life thanks to artificial heart pumps.
Heart transplants usually come with a long set of preconditions and a waiting list. Things are harder in more populous countries. China, a country of 10 million people, only has 300 transplantable hearts a year. Now technology is changing things.
In the past, I felt breathless if I walked 20 to 30 meters, but now I can walk 800 to 1,000 meters. I was unable to go upstairs without help, but now I can walk by myself.
Heart patient He Xin's surgery was done by director of Wuwai Hospital Hu Shengshou. The technology was developed independently by China.
Compared with the latest generation, the third generation of US-made artificial heart pumps with magnetic suspension that has been widely used in the world, this artificial heart pump has reached the international level.
The Chinese heart pump weighs in at under 180 grams. It has been successfully installed in 7 people so far.
Asian markets have had a mixed opening this morning, with tensions between the U.S. and Iran still simmering. Mainland Chinese stocks rose in early trade, with the Shanghai Composite up 0.11%. Over in Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index was largely flat. Japan's Nikkei 225 recovered some of its earlier losses before fractionally declining. In South Korea, the Kospi recovered to trade 0.16% higher. In early trading, Brent crude futures rose 0.6%, while U.S. crude prices have increased to $58 per barrel. A cricket museum in Pune, India is seeing a surge in visitors during the World Cup season. More on that now in this report.
Situated in a residential apartment, this museum houses some of the rarest cricket collectibles in the world. Many are signed by titans of the game, like India's Virendra Sehwag or Sri Lanka's Sanath Jayasuriya. With the cricket craze peaking because of the World Cup, the establishment is busier than usual.
My son is crazy about cricket. He is very much obsessed. I came here with very low expectations, but once I arrived, I realized that the articles that have been collected here at a big scale, quite a lot of effort has gone into making the museums.
One of the biggest attractions in the museum is a cricket bat signed by all World Cup winning captains. It also boasts cricket kits belonging to legends like Desmond Haynes, Mark Waugh and Alan Border.
I am very excited to come here and see all the articles on display, like cricket bats, jerseys, and a lot of information from the 1975 World Cup. Whichever teams that they have ever played, like their scores. I loved watching it.
Their collection also includes balls used by bowling legends like Kapil Dev and Wasim Akram. On certain days, visitors can also watch classic matches of the past.
Time now to find out what the weather is like around the world. Well, you're all caught up now. Thanks very much for watching this bulletin here at Indus News.